I'd like to call this meeting of the Simpson County Fiscal Court to order. If you would, I'd ask you to bow with me in a word of prayer, and then we'll have the pledge to the flag. Heavenly Father, we do thank you for this day you've given us. Lord, we just thank you for this beautiful fall weather. Lord, today we just come and ask you to be with those families from Simpson County that are traveling during fall break, that you'd watch over and take care of them during those travels. And Lord, we just ask you to be with us in this meeting today, to guide us and direct us, that the things we do are right and pleasing in your sight. And we thank you for all of your goodness, your mercy, and your grace. And we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, at this time, we need to open the meeting with a public hearing for the discontinuance of the VFW road. During that time of the public hearing, are there any public comments or concerns about discontinuing the operation of the county maintaining VFW road? Hearing none, I will close this portion of the public hearing and call for another public hearing for any comments, questions, or concerns about the 5-year solid waste plan for Simpson County. Hearing no public concerns or questions, I will close that public hearing and we'll move on to regular business. Gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the minutes of our September 20th regular fiscal court meeting, I need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Got a motion by Scott, second by Marty. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, if you had an opportunity to review the TVA monies resolution for the TVA money to be designated to the Industrial Authority for improvements in industrial parks, we would need a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2022-10-04 RDAAP and authorize the county judge to sign that resolution.
So moved, Mason.
Got a motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion? Just so the public knows, this is a program that the TVA has implemented over the last few years, and it's money that comes back to communities, but you have to use it in your industrial parks. And so that's why the industrial park is the special purpose government entity that gets the funding that comes, but it has to come through the county. Any other question, discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, if you had an opportunity to review the KDC, and this is the Kentucky Deferred Comp Joinder Agreement, we would need a motion and a second to approve that agreement and authorize entering a resolution number 2022-10-04 KDC, and this will replace the current agreement we have, and this is for the employees that participate in the deferred compensation, and we have to have this in place for those employees to be allowed to participate in that deferred comp. So, got a motion by Scott and a second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, gentlemen, we had the public hearing briefly before the meeting about the discontinuance of VFW Road. If you see the information on the portal, we had a panel of folks, Jack Wade, Scott Hall, and our road supervisor, Bobby Groves, make an assessment of it. You see their recommendation. So we would need a motion of the court to discontinue VFW Road.
So moved.
And as part of that, I guess, because I'm not really sure, and we don't have legal counsel here because he's one of the fall break travelers, as part of that motion, let's authorize the judge to sign any paperwork that may be necessary to make that happen. Are y'all good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had the motion, I think it was Myron, and second by Nate. Any other question or discussion?
So will that road go to the property to the south of it, or?
That's my understanding.
I think so. I think that is correct.
That road was actually part of the property, VFW property.
Okay, all right. I was just wondering, I mean, we've never done this before, so we have to do like a quick claim deed to give it, to put it with that property, or do you know?
That's another question for council, but that, you know, I guess if we have to, we may have to do that in a motion at the next meeting. I can't answer that for sure, but we could have to do a quick claim deed on it.
If it's a county road now, and we close it down, but then
Because if y'all
we're gonna have to
remember,
do something with it.
y'all remember when we had a lot of discussion back a few years ago about the little piece of land there on Loving Chapel
Yeah.
Road? And remember I believe it was Gary Dunning had told us that what happens when a county road ceases to be the county road, he says, the way I understood him, it automatically reverts back to the previous landowner, wherever that piece. So I don't know how we determine that, but.
Good point. But my impression was that Mr.
Okay.
George Mears that owns the property now, that road was actually on his property.
And I guess what would happen is if part of this deal, if a quit claim deed is needed, one would have to be prepared, and I guess we'd just bring it and authorize
Well, in
that.
that motion, it said you sign any paperwork necessary. I was just wondering if,
Yeah. Well, that's true too. Y'all, and part of this motion was for me to sign any paperwork, so I guess if one's needed and they prepare one, I'm authorized to sign it.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I don't know.
okay.
All right. Next, also, we had the,
Did we vote on that?
we had a motion and a second, didn't we, Sidney? Did we vote yet? All right, so all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. All right, also, we had a short, Gilbert, how are you doing?
Well, how are you?
Good to see you. We had a brief public hearing about the 5-year solid waste plan. Of course, Bobby Groves, the Public Works Supervisor, he coordinates this plan, and you've got a copy of the plan there on your portal. What we have to do is approve that plan and authorize resolution number 2022-10-04 SWMP, and authorize the county judge to sign that resolution.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion about the solid waste plan? And if we do, it's going to be a tough answer because I think Bobby's on a boat to Hawaii.
We could probably call him.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'd want to have that.
yeah. All right. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, next, last Friday, we opened sealed bids on 5 pieces of equipment. I went over those bids with the Public Works Supervisor, and if y'all recall, we had part of the bid process that we could accept or reject any or all bids. So it didn't mean you don't have to reject the whole lot, you can reject some. So the supervisor, Bobby's suggestion was, based on the bids and the equipment, to authorize the bids of $414.50 each for the bushwhackers, and there were 2 bushwhackers, and the $100 for the backhoe that is in desperate need of all repairs. I mean, if I understood Bobby right, he said the brakes doesn't work and every cylinder on it leaks. But he suggested that we reject the bids that were received on the 2 trucks. So I guess what I need is a motion from the court to accept the 2 bids for the bushwhacker and backhoe and reject the 2 bids for the pickup trucks.
So moved.
Got a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Marty. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, gentlemen. Next is we have some information about the sheriff's tax collection rate from the school system. And if we have questions about this, the sheriff may need to be the one to answer the question, but the school is requesting that we drop the tax collection rate for this tax year from the current 3% down to 2.041%. It's my understanding, and the sheriff, why don't you speak to this, because you know more about the KRS and how this really works, but it's my understanding that if the school requests this, the obligation is on the sheriff's department to determine what the actual cost is, correct?
Yeah, I'll give you a brief as I can keep it, update on tax collection rates. This has nothing to do with the property taxes you're paying. It's the rate of collections that we're allowed to keep. Having a budget, our money is turned over to the county, so it eventually comes to you guys. So of all your taxing districts, there is a set rate that cannot be changed. All taxing districts, except for the school. The school is the one exception of all the taxing districts. There's KRS, the law in Kentucky holds them completely different than the other taxing districts. For all the taxing districts, there's a set rate. It can't change. It doesn't matter what it costs us to actually collect the taxes or not collect. That's what they have to pay to have them collect them. The school is considered a different animal. What we have to do by law is when the school requests us to look at the cost of collecting the taxes, we have to sit down and we do it with a fine-tooth comb. It's quite a procedure to go through, but we're able to figure out what it actually costs the sheriff's office to collect it. At one time, the school's tax collection rate was 4%. That's about what it is for everybody else. I think it's 4.025% for the other districts. Before I was sheriff, and I've been sheriff for 9 years now, it's been 3% my entire time. So at some point it left from 4% to 3%. That was because the tax base in Simpson County had come up. I'm thinking when I got to be sheriff, our tax base was $8.5 million, thereabouts. This year it's $15.9 million. So tax base has come way up. The cost of collecting taxes has not kept up with that because we try to be very efficient. We do have some cost increase each year, but it's not the same as the tax basis. But bottom line is, by law, we figure up what it costs to collect the school's taxes, not everybody else's. The other people aren't involved in the school. It's just what it costs to collect the school's portion. And basically, 0.0241% is where it's at. 2 years ago, we figured it, and we were right at a break-even point, so it stayed at 3%. And I told Tim Slosher at the time, I said, when you ask down the road, I'm sure there's going to come a day. And there'll come a day when it's the lowest amount where they can't argue it as 1.5%. And in the next few years, if Simpson County continues to grow and the tax base continues to rise, I suspect it will eventually get to that. So any questions about that? It's not the school by law is supposed to try to get every cent that they can for the school system. They haven't done anything bad by going, what does it cost? I have to be truthful in what we do, and the truth of the matter is, yes, right now the revenue is more than what it cost us to collect it. So, any questions?
What is the dollar amount that it would be from the 3% to the 2.041?
Roughly 80,000.
Somewhere between, and I have to say somewhere because you never know what you're going
I
to collect.
understand. I'm just wanting to.
But it's going to be somewhere between $55,000 and $80,000.
Okay.
Figured for last year's, and that's what we had to figure it on. Figured on last year's, it looked like $80,000. If you figured it on this year's, it might be $55,000. But the tax base is different than it was last year. So,
Okay.
but approximately in there.
But you know why I asked that?
I know.
Because they just come and asked for $100,000, and now they're getting another 80.
Any questions? All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
So gentlemen, it's my understanding, I mean, I don't think we have like a vote in this matter, like whether it can or cannot be reduced. I think our motion and second is just that we accept the reduction in rate for the school district. Got a motion by Nate to accept the rate reduction for the school district.
Second.
Second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? I mean, technically, this is one, if you vote no on it, don't matter, it's
Don't
gonna happen
matter.
anyway. So all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We gotta laugh a little bit. All right. Next is, and may need Bob Palmer to speak to this a little bit, but we're moving along in the process on getting this emergency communication equipment up and going and the tower going. And it was determined that on this tower site, it was going to be a little over $150,000 difference than what was originally quoted. What Motorola is asking for is $65,000 of that difference, and that would be equally split between the city and the county at $32,500 each. Is that pretty accurate, Bob? So what we would have to do today, and I have messaged this over to the city manager. He says they have this on their agenda for next Monday. What we would have to do to proceed with this is make a motion and a second to authorize the county to pay their half of the $65,000, which would be $32,500, pending like action from the city. So if for some reason the city says, well, no, we're not doing it, then we'll have to go back and regroup. But I don't imagine that they're not going to do it. And since this agreement was done out of the ARPA funding, this $32,500 would come from that ARPA money.
Would it be 500 or 750? It's 65.5.
Yeah, 32, you're right, 32,750. No. It's 65,000 even, isn't it?
No,
It says
500.
65.5.
Oh, 65.5. I was thinking it was 65,000 even. Yes, if it's 65.5, it'll be 32,750.
What, so they found, it says geotechnical find, so the ground, was it,
They drilled straight into a vein with a dump.
they did what?
Yeah, come.
At the very beginning, we knew that location might be suspect because of the former history of where it was at. And when they did the geotechnical, drilled in to check the soil and everything, they drilled, all of the points are into a vein, into a dump vein, so they gotta, I mentioned it early on, or when they said they was getting ready to drill, the concern was how deep are we gonna have to go to get to good dirt? And this is what came out of it. This is just how much further they gotta go to get to good dirt.
Okay. So they didn't really check this before they decided on the site then?
No, we gave them the
Evidently
site and
Oh, okay.
Well,
we all agreed on the
I
site.
think what their original quote was based on what they would typically have to do to anchor that, and I mean, you don't know until you go core drill it, and I don't think, no one was really wanting to core drill at the park unless we agreed to do this.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. So if the city says no, then this doesn't do any good.
Well, yeah, I mean, our motion would be pending like action from the city, because I mean, they're obligated for the other half of the 65.5. But, I mean, indications are they're gonna do it.
Right.
But they just don't meet till next Monday. So, I mean, we won't know that for 100% fact till next Monday. But what we need is a motion and a second to authorize this change order number 1 and authorize the county judge to sign it.
So the towers part, it can't be moved to get out of this so-called vein, whatever that, I mean,
We could, but it would be another increase. We'd have to go through the entire process again and pay for all the drilling.
well, you know, we discussed this at the beginning, and matter of fact, I asked a question when they selected this tower site. I said, you guys know this could be on where the public dump used to be. And I was a little bit shocked. I don't mind telling you, I was a little bit shocked because this question did come up before we even agreed to do this project. So, anyway.
Well, and that could be part of their willingness to eat the 90-some thousand dollars of the full cost, possibly. I don't know why they gave that up so easily, but
Sounds good.
So moved.
got a motion by Marty.
Hey, Judge,
Yes, sir.
you won't have to sign that. I'll take care of the signature on that.
Okay.
You gonna sign his name to that?
No, the way we got set up, maybe we did make these change orders, it was, you guys got me set up as the applicant agent on it, so you won't have to sign it.
Okay.
That way it doesn't have to go to the city for their signature, we just get one signature.
Okay. Well, you can't sign it till they approve their half of the money there. Okay.
That's why I haven't, that's why we're going through this process. I'm not gonna sign anything until those bodies say it.
So I guess we need to amend that motion to authorize change order number 1 and authorize Emergency Management Director Bob Palmer to sign the agreement, the change order.
I still make a motion.
Marty's got the motion. And Sydney's wondering, why can't we get this right the first time? All right, we have a motion by Marty.
Second.
Second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right. Next, if you had an opportunity to review the cash transfers, we have one from federal grant fund to the general fund for $6,864.06. Need a motion and a second to approve that transfer.
So,
Motion by
Second.
Nate, second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
aye.
Next is a cash transfer from the general fund to the jail fund for $75,000. I need a motion and a second to approve that transfer.
I think the jailer's got.
Jailer, it doesn't matter. We still got to make this. I understand, it was so late in the process that we got to make this. I know, I got you.
So moved.
Got a motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Myron. The jailer, I'm assuming, is bringing a check from the commissary, and the county treasurer was working on this as she was getting ready to go on, and it was already on, processed and done, and she's gone on fall break before she got word that this was going to happen. But at the same time, she says it doesn't matter because at some point we will use this money. So
What is this for?
Well, it was supposedly to cover payroll, which is happening this week,
Okay.
but we'll be, it's okay. So did we make a motion yet? We had
Yeah.
a motion in a second.
Yeah.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is budget transfers. If you had a motion or an opportunity to review those transfers, we need a motion in a second to authorize those budget transfers.
So moved.
Motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then finally, if you had an opportunity to review the bills and claims, we need a motion and a second to approve the bills and claims as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Before we get into reports, I see Gilbert Mitchell from the Senator McConnell's office has come. We're glad to have you with us, Gilbert. Do you have anything that you need or want to say on behalf of the senator? Any good news you can bring Simpson County?
No, I just want to spend some time here today.
Okay.
I need to go off this report, so I want to attend this as well. I guess official news is that the Senate's already out for recess, and I believe Congress, just to speak to them real fast, should be at the end of the week. And Congress will definitely be out through the first week of November, and there's a possibility that the Senate goes back before, say, November 8th, but we really doubt that. So the senator's going to be traveling a lot next month, but just happen to be here.
Okay. All right. We're glad to have you here
Yep.
with us. All right. Moving on. Obviously, we're not having a joint meeting with the city today. They've tentatively asked, could we do it on December 6th? Because I guess primarily they weren't wanting to have the meeting till after the election. So we could see if we could have it maybe on the 15th of November. That'll be our next meeting after the election. I can check, but tentatively they're asking for December 6th.
I won't be here on the 6th.
Okay. So we'll
See if you can work it
But
out
I-
in November.
what?
In November.
November 15th? Okay. We'll see if we can
Yeah.
make that happen.
I guess the question I would have to them, if they're wanting to wait till after the election, if it's not the same city commission after the election it is now, are they not going to want to, are they going to want to meet after the election?
Don't know the answer to that one
I mean,
yet.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All of them, some of them have there's
Yeah.
more than 4 running, and there's also a mayor, two people running for mayor. So I don't know, if there's a new city government, then they may not want to meet until after the first of the year.
Yeah. We'll see. But we'll see what happens. A couple other items. A week from today, the Human Rights Commission has a political forum slated on October 11th at 6 p.m., and it'll be right here in the courthouse. And then the week following, which will be October the 18th, the BPW of Franklin has a political forum scheduled for 6 p.m., and it'll be at the high school cafeteria, is my understanding. And then, Bill, I may need your help for the next thing. Have you been over to the clerk's building this morning? All right. I don't want to get into a discussion about this today, but I just want to ask the court to deeply, deeply reconsider our discussions about the clerk's building and the park and the ARPA funding and doing that building. We got a call this morning that yesterday, and I didn't get called yesterday, but I got the call this morning that evidently yesterday there was quite a foul odor in the clerk's building. They go in today and it's so bad they didn't know if they could be there. Bill has since got a plumber. Is there you got anything to share on what's going on over there right now?
Right now, we've looked underneath. We pulled up the inspection hole in the back, and all that plumbing looks good. And then we went into the attic, and all the vents are still connected. So we really don't know why. It's pretty bad. So I don't know where it's coming from. So when I left to come to court, he was going to get a rod and going to go up on the roof, and we're going to rod it down and make sure there's nothing stopping up the vent. But there's no evidence of that either, because every time, there's no gurgling or anything in the vent, and everything's flushing correct.
Is it pretty bad in there? Is it pretty bad in there right now?
When you first go in, of course, when you're in there a few minutes, it gets better, but it's pretty strong.
Maybe when we get done, we can all walk over there.
I'm still waiting that's why I got the phone in my hand, because
Okay.
I got it turned off, and I'm waiting to hear from him. When the court's over, I'm going to head back over there, but he's still investigating right now.
Okay. Okey dokey. That's all I've got. Myron, you have anything?
No snow report.
Scott, you have anything? No. Nate?
No report.
Marty?
No.
Counselor is out on fall break, enjoying some time with family, so he didn't dial in a report, so we won't get to that one. Sheriff, you have anything?
Now your property taxes should have got your bill in the mail. Since Sam's gone, we started tax collections on October 1st, but online. Yesterday was the first day in office, because it's the first day we're open, so.
Sheriff,
That's it.
I seen a comment on Facebook. Some people were complaining that tax bills were just on a postcard where anybody could see their values and all that. Is there, maybe look into doing something, putting in an envelope or doing something? I understand that it's cheaper to mail out the postcards, but I also understand they didn't want people knowing their value of the property.
I don't disagree with them. I'll give you the dirty of both sides. The information on the card is public record. You can go on our website, you can go on the PVA's websites, you can call over there and look to get all the information that's on there. The postcards are the cheapest way, and manpower-wise. If you guys want to give me approximately $5,000 to $6,000 is what it's going to cost you not to send out a postcard, I'm fine with whatever you want to do. I understand their concerns. You guys pay the bill, so it's really up to y'all. What do you want to do? 34 cents is about what it costs to send something out on a postcard. 58 cents gets it out in an envelope. That doesn't seem like much, but that's about $2,500 when you look at how many bills have to be sent out. But the real cost is personnel, because now you're going to have to take 2 to 3 people to sit and go through about 11,000 bills, thereabouts, to write out on an envelope or print out. There's a lot of hidden costs. And then you have the margin to make a mistake. Handling 11,000 bills, if you write out somebody's wrong address or something, where electronically, and the company that takes care of it through the PVA and us, it's all in their system. They take care of getting the cards out. And it's a better system, and Simpson County's not the ones that instituted this. It's been done across the state. You get your motor vehicle, all your stuff comes like that. If y'all ask it of me, if the citizens, but this isn't the first year it's had. This is the first year I've heard anybody say anything about it.
Right.
I've been there 9 years, and it was done long before I got there. So we're probably 15 to 20 years into sending that card out. So I understand. I do hear what people are saying. You guys have to weigh the balance of that. My estimation, $5,000 to $6,000. If you want to put that in my budget, we'll do it.
Okay.
I'm here to do what the people want.
Well, that's what I'm here for too, and the reason I heard some complaining, that's the reason I asked. I didn't know if it would cost that much if you had the, some of those postcards, they just fold over and stick, and then they had to peel it, open it up that way.
It
I didn't
sounds
know.
simple
I just
until you
didn't.
get to actually getting things printed out, put in the mail and gone. Just the postage rate's $2,500 difference.
Okay.
After the postage rate, you've got, The buying the envelopes and stuff is not that bad. It's the sitting and trying to do it and then making sure there's not a mistake. And there'll be a mistake. So what you'll get,
Somebody else's bill.
10, 15 mishaps out of 11,000 bills. And then you've got to try to fix everything. The current system works. What you don't hear people say much about, and this is the horror of the current system, is the small postcard. I don't like the small postcard because it can fall into trash mail. It goes out through the postal service. So if that happens to be when they're having Walmart's big sale and that card slides into it, a lot of people get their junk mail and they just throw it away and that card is slid into something. Envelopes do make it better in that sense. So I'm not opposed to it. I listen to the people, talk to your constituents, but anytime you talk about money, it's easy to go, yeah, that sounds good, let's do it now. But when my budget hits you and you go, we've had all this other stuff, Hart, I don't want y'all looking at me going, what's this six? If y'all want it, I'll do it.
Well, I didn't say, I just.
No,
I'm
that's
glad
not an
you-
argument. I'm talking reality to everybody and
I appreciate you coming up and explaining it that way anybody watching it can understand why
Yes.
we do it.
I don't like people's
I'm good
information
with
being
the
out there
postcards,
either.
Jerry Days.
Do what?
I'm good with the postcard.
I don't remember ever getting anything but a postcard.
I
Nope.
can't remember ever getting
Me
anything but
neither,
a postcard on the county tax.
Yeah.
The city sends theirs out in an envelope, but I think they process all those in-house.
I'm guessing it probably took place prior to Joe Palmer. It's been a long time,
Yeah.
15, 20 years ago. And at one point, there was a halfway mark through there, even on the postcards to try to reduce. We would spend a day putting them in different areas of the county because it was cheaper if you could deliver them to the post office in certain areas.
My biggest concern with the postcard is not the cost difference or someone seeing it. My biggest concern with that and the motor vehicle and all that is, like you said, it gets lost and shuffled in your stack of mail, and it's easy to lose that little
Yes.
card.
The good thing in the advancements of, there's lots of bad things in the advancements of society. But on the good side, everybody should know at this point in time, your tax bills are October 1st. Be looking for your tax bill. The same every year. In the old days, that card was all you would have to rely on. Now, you can go online on your computer and look your tax bill up and look at it right there and print it off, and you don't even have to worry about the card. Secondly, you can call or come in. We'll be glad to pull it up for you. We just can't give it out till October 1st, but
Well,
it's
and
there.
I would imagine if we polled the generation that Gilbert and Sidney are in, they'd just soon you get it to them electronically some way and not even have a card or a letter in the mail.
Yeah.
I'd just soon not get either.
Well, now here's the good thing on the card though. Because the cards come through the PVA and us and the county clerk's office, they are accurate. We ask people to try to bring their cards in when they pay their property taxes. Some people will come in and say, just run me all the properties in my name. Well, Jerry Hobson would be simple. Jerry Hobson only owns one property, so when you look it up, it's there. Some people own 30, 40 pieces of different property throughout the county, and as long as it was deeded and everything through the PVA is exactly the same, if we put it in the computer, it'll come up. But guess what? If there was some unique situation in this one piece of property and you had just one word different than the other properties, it's not going to pull up. So we can't really, I don't know what pieces of property Mason owns. I know he's just in the process of building a house, but if he owns something else, I don't know it. And if one's M. Barnes and one's Mason Barnes, the way they were titled, and you ask for a complete list, it's going to miss one. So if you actually bring in your cards, that card is specific to that piece of property. So that does help. Letters would be the same, though. That's,
Yeah.
so.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Jailer, you have anything?
Stay out of jail, we're full.
Well, I don't think any of us up here intend to come to jail. I mean, not as a customer. Okay. Carter, anything with planning and zoning? Nelson, anything with fire department? Bill, any word yet? You have anything else with maintenance? Well, we'll go make a human chain. We stand shoulder to shoulder to shoulder and get him up there. We'll tell him we're about to dismiss. All right, no other business. I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty and a second by Nate. Oh, wait a minute. Let's rescind those motions real quick. I didn't offer the emergency management director a time for his report. And I do want him to speak briefly about, Bob spent a couple of weeks over in eastern Kentucky helping with the flood cleanup and helping with them. Bob, I'm sorry.
He's already come up here once.
Yeah.
I should have took care of it when I was up there. First off, I'm grateful that you guys continue to allow us to deploy and help other communities as we can. I spent 2 weeks in Breathitt County, and in the amount of time I was there, it makes me feel very grateful to live where I am. The Appalachian Mountains and the devastation that not just Breathitt County, but Perry County and Clay County and all those counties over there are dealing with right now is unimaginable. It equals, from what of course, anytime you see pictures and video, it doesn't never do it any kind of justice. But the areas that I dealt with in Breathitt County equals everything that I've seen coming out of Florida, easily. So they still have 2 citizens over there that are missing. I don't know that they'll ever find them. There's areas over there that got 8 feet of silt that came out of the North Fork of the Kentucky River. There's 2.5 miles of paved road that's missing. And when I say missing, they don't know where the pavement's at. They can't find it. 30 houses completely gone. They're finding pieces of houses downstream, but they can't identify them to a certain address. It's truly a disaster. So just keep everybody, Florida, eastern Kentucky, and this whole area suffered a pretty devastating flood a year ago. So they're having lots and lots of financial issues. I've learned a lot, which is one of the reasons I appreciate being able to go like I did Warren County and this trip to Breathitt County to try to put things in place and improve our preparedness here. So just ask everybody to keep praying for them because they're going to need it for a long time. It's going to take a long time to recover from this. If they ever do, they're not sure they're going to be able to make payroll for their county employees in the next 2 months. So it's really bad over there. So just want to tell you thanks for letting me go, and I appreciate it. Hopefully I bring something back that helps us.
Well, Bob, I appreciate you being willing to go, and this is one of those things where you're glad to help your neighbors out because you know they would help you if you were in need. And my hope and prayer is that we just are in a place that we're not in that need at any point, but the reality is we may be at some time.
I'll just mention this real quick. Marty's probably the only one that remembers this. When we did our buyout, we bought 8 houses.
Yeah, down here.
They're looking at having to buy over 80 houses.
Over 80.
Yeah. And like I said, the county's broke, so they're not sure how they're going to go through the process. How much FEMA's going to assist them, how much the state funding that was allocated, the SAFE Act, we're not real sure how that's all going to work, but the properties that they're wanting to buy need to be bought because nobody needs to live there. Nobody.
And I'll say this too, Bob, because I know there's people that may watch this and they think, well, what in the world does it benefit Simpson County to send our emergency management director into those areas like that? The benefit is you can sit through training after training after training after training, and you can learn a lot, but you don't learn near as much as you do when you're seeing it firsthand and you're in the middle of working that disaster firsthand and bringing that experience, getting that experience, and being able to apply it if and when the need is right here is something. I mean, I say this about school. School is very important. Having your education is very important, but nothing teaches you like hands-on experience. So,
You're absolutely right. And the other benefit, the week prior to me going over there, I spent a week in Bowling Green taking training to go assist as an incident management team member. And when you get that kind of devastation, the county judge and the emergency management director can't handle it. There's no way. So we put together we're working on creating a team, a type 3 team that could deploy to the Carolinas and Florida if they asked for one across the state. It's excellent benefit for us, like you're talking about, but at the time that it happens, more importantly, they just need the help.
Yeah.
There's no way that they can handle that all by themselves. So that's the offering we put forward, is we're here to help you as much as we can, take as much of that demand and that load off of you guys as you can, because I can't, there's no way I can describe how devastating it is. It's 8 weeks ago. It's been 2 months since that happened, and it's still as busy today as it was the day it hit, so I just appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so back, I think we had Marty and Nate making motions, so we need those motions to adjourn.
I'll still make that motion.
Marty's got the motion.
Second.
Nate's got the second. All in favor, aye? Aye.